Erik McKinney here with Greg Katz. And Greg, we're talking day one of full pads of fall camp. It's day five, I believe, of fall camp. And in this kind of weird season, we're not there. We're not at practice. So we're really relying on kind of what coaches and players are saying and the video and photos that are coming out. One of the big aspects of that first day in full pads, and we heard plenty from defensive coordinator Todd Orlando, was going to be this idea of that day with full tackling, with full contact. That was going to be a separation day, and he was going to find out a whole lot about his players. Your take on sort of that thought process going into that day, how important that is, and then a little bit of what we've seen again in the videos and the photos coming out.
Well, you have to take it all into context, get a little bit of information here, a little there. It's kind of like going to the hometown buffet, picking out what you see, put it all together on your plate and say, well, what do we got? Having looked at the video, I actually gleaned a lot from it. I saw, like, for an example, Drake Jackson was in shorts wearing a mask. So he wasn't even, there was nothing on him that indicated, obviously we didn't expect him with his hamstring to be performing it, but he wasn't even dressed. And so that only showed for a split second, but this shows you why coaches have paranoia about putting things on video, that you can glean stuff. I thought based on the video, they came off the ball strong. I was impressed with, should we say, the running of Stephen Carr. He ran hard. I mean, Quincy, Quinnett, is it Quinnett?
Quincy Jounty.
Jounty, yeah. Yeah, he exploded between the tackles. I was able to glean that Justin Dedich was handling the backup snaps. So you can glean a lot from it. We could see the slant patterns going to Tyler Vaughn's. So you can see a little here, a little there. It's always exciting to see the team in person when they're all dressed up, especially the freshmen. And I think along the offensive line, some of these freshmen are going to play. I mean, they are big. And from what I saw in the video, just quick glances, they didn't seem to have any problem in attacking. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, I liked kind of what we saw a little bit from the linebackers. Raylan Goforth is a guy that I'm excited about, and he had kind of a big hit in that video. Talking about kind of being physical, you get the sense from Todd Orlando that he really lives and breathes that. That is important to him, and it is something that he has pushed. I guess maybe not so much pushed on the whole staff, because really all those defensive guys are really kind of in lockstep with that being important. And it's something that you've heard kind of trickle throughout the entire team. The offense is believing that the defense really loves this defensive staff and wants to play hard for them. So it's one of those things where you're still, because of the last couple years and kind of the I guess lack of physicality and really being able to go dominate an opponent, you still want to wait until you see it to fully buy into it. But I think they do have, they've sort of earned the benefit of the doubt with a new defensive staff coming in and kind of trying to reimagine what that side of the ball looks like and really kind of give it, that kick in the pants, I guess, that it needs to get going. And so day one, a lot of the talk and what you saw coming out of that, I think it's a positive step in that direction on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, one of the big questions, what is that offensive line going to look like? And we got our first answer from head coach Clay Helton when he talks about the offensive line. Right now, they're looking at a lot of different kind of configurations up front, but that first line at this point, what's going out there, Elijah Vera-Tucker at left tackle, Andrew Voorhees back and healthy at left guard, Brett Nealon at center, Liam Jimmons at right guard, and Jalen McKenzie at right tackle. That's the first unit running right now. Your thoughts on kind of that group and really what the offensive line looks like for USC going forward this year?
Well, first of all, Graham Harrell's very optimistic about it. Having listened to him talk about it, you'd almost think that it's the offensive line of John Robinson's 1979 Trojans. The question I've always had is, number one, their physicality, to be honest with you, their aggressiveness. And the fact of the matter is how devoted is Graham Harrell to running the football? Running the football promotes aggressive behavior. And, thinking of that and tagging onto a point that you made, this physicality thing, did you find it interesting that Clay Helton mentioned that they are sending offensive players over to the defensive coaches, quote, to get to know each other? I don't think it's just to get to know each other. I think those defensive coaches probably look at the offensive coaches or in general, the attitude of that side of the ball and go, wait a minute, you got to be as aggressive as we are, or we're going to eat you up on defense. There is no question in my mind that we're going to see an entirely different attitude than what Clancy Pendergast, who was a very reserved person. You rarely saw him really get excited about anything. And it couldn't be more different than night and day between Pendergast and Todd Orlando. And does that translate to the offense? I think there's pressure on the offense right now and those offensive linemen to match the aggressiveness of the defense. In fact, if anything, in watching what little we saw in the video, the collisions up front were a lot more, should we say, aggressive. You could say, well, what can you tell in, a minute and 20 seconds? Well, you really can see people getting off the ball. You can see offensive linemen finishing a block. Even if you see only 4 or 5 plays, you watch the collisions and are they playing to the whistle? And the big thing I think Todd Orlando is going to have a talk and say, this offensive line, you guys got to bring it. I'm not saying he's going to supersede Tim Drevno, but Drevno really is more of a quiet, at least low key. I think that might be the best way to put it. Because we're all know the success that Pete Carroll had under Tim Davis, who was really had the mindset of a Todd Orlando, and they really came to punish you. So this is a very interesting evolution to me. It's going to bring out, especially for these freshman offensive linemen, they're going to see something maybe different than the other offensive linemen have seen in the past couple of years, 3 or 4 years, on just how aggressive they're going to be. So maybe in pass blocking, they need to be more aggressive, but generally in pass blocking, you're basically, they say, don't be the hammer, don't be the nail, be the hammer. Maybe we'll see more hammer this time, the way things are shaking down.
Yeah, I mean, just day one in full pad. Still a long way to go until that November 7 opening date against Arizona State. USC is going to scrimmage every day at the Coliseum at that early hour, not a 9 a.m. game against Arizona State. They're going to get used to what the Coliseum feels like and all the kind of sight lines and where the sun is and all that sort of stuff over the next few Saturdays as they prepare for there. Again, we heard a lot of talk, and these coaches can talk the talk. Now we're starting to see if they can walk the walk again, waiting to see kind of what that actually looks like when we can, watch a game and see it in action. But early signs indicate this is not just going to be lip service given to kind of how physical and what kind of attitude this team is going to bring on defense. And then as that trickles over to the offensive side of the ball. So again, fun to see kind of what we can see at practice in this very strange year with fall camp. So day one in pads checked off, and USC kind of now officially on their way on this 2020 fall season.